Tonight, we're stepping into something a little darker, a time of plagues, punishments, and pottage. Forget the castles and knightly glory Hollywood sold you. The real Middle Ages? You wouldn't last a single day. So before you get comfortable, hit like and subscribe, because you've just woken up in the year 1325. Good news, you're alive. Bad news, so are the fleas. Your bed is a half-rotted straw mattress that smells like a barn floor, because it was a barn floor 3 months ago. No pillows, no cotton sheets, just a wool blanket so dirty it could qualify as livestock. The church bell clangs. That's your alarm clock. Louder, more merciless, and impossible to snooze. You live in a one-room wooden hut with no windows. No privacy and a generous population of insects. The smell? A rich blend of stale beer, sweat, goat, and something you really hope isn't mold. You're 22, middle-aged by medieval standards, and your knees already sound like a bag of rocks. The floor under your bare feet is either wet from last night's roof leak or crusty from whatever the chicken did. Privacy doesn't exist. Your entire family, and maybe a cousin who never left, sleeps in the same room. Welcome to morning. In medieval Europe, you're never alone because 8 other people, 3 rodents, and several hundred parasites are always with you. Nature calls loudly. Your bathroom is either a wooden bucket behind the house or, if you're lucky, a spot over the moat. Either way, your flush system involves tossing it into the street and yelling "Gardy-loo" as an early warning to anyone passing below. Streets double as open sewers carrying away human waste, animal droppings, and mystery liquids you're better off not identifying. Breakfast? Forget bacon, coffee, or toast. You get pottage, a gloopy stew that's been simmering for days, with new scraps dumped in on top. On the side, bread was so hard it could deflect arrows. To drink? Beer. At 6 a.m., even the kids drink it, because the water will kill you faster than the alcohol will. Your wardrobe? One outfit. Wool, itchy, crawling with lice. Shoes? Maybe. Probably. Not. Bathing? Rare. Because people believe it opens your pores and lets disease in. Teeth? Rotted? Toothache treatment? Let the guy who cuts your hair yank it out with an iron hook. And after all that, it's time to start work. Sunrise to sunset, no weekends, no breaks, and no pay beyond survival. This isn't your romantic medieval fairy tale. This is life and death in the 14th century. Now, tonight we're going somewhere darker, the real Middle Ages. Forget the castles and knightly glory Hollywood promised. The truth? You wouldn't survive a single day. Welcome to the year 1325. Good news, you're alive. Bad news, so are the fleas. You wake up on a half-rotted straw mattress that smells like a barn floor, because it was a barn floor 3 months ago. No pillows, no sheets, just a wool blanket so filthy it could count as livestock. The church bell slams through the air. That's your alarm clock. Loud, merciless, and impossible to snooze. You live in a one-room hut with no windows, no privacy, and enough insects to qualify as a second family. The smell? A rich perfume of stale beer, sweat, goat, and something. You pray isn't mold. You're 22, already middle-aged, and your knees sound like a sack of gravel. The floor beneath your feet? Wet from last night's leak? Or crusty from whatever the chicken left you? Privacy? Doesn't exist. You share your room with 8 family members, 3 rodents, and several hundred parasites. Nature calls loudly. Your bathroom is either a wooden bucket behind the house or a hole over the moat. Flushing means tossing it into the street and yelling "Gardy-loo" to warn unlucky passers-by. Streets double as open sewers, carrying away human waste, animal droppings, and mysterious fluids better left uninvestigated. Breakfast? Forget bacon and coffee. You get pottage, a gloopy stew that's been bubbling for days with scraps dumped in on top. Bread so hard it could deflect arrows. And to drink? Beer. at 6 a.m., even for the kids, because the water will kill you faster than the alcohol. Clothes? One itchy wool outfit crawling with lice. Shoes? Maybe. Bathing? Almost never. Because people think it lets disease in. Teeth? Rotted? Toothache cure? Let the guy who cuts your hair rip it out with an iron hook. Then it's straight to work. Sunrise to sunset. No weekends. No breaks. No pay beyond survival. This isn't a fairy tale. This is life and death in the 14th century. Most peasants don't bother with shoes. You just trudge barefoot through mud, manure, and medieval landmines. Sharp rocks, broken pottery, and puddles that might be water. Or might be disease soup. Your feet hate you, your skin hates you, and your body is basically an Airbnb for fleas, lice, and bedbugs. Everyone's infested. From kings in castles, to monks in monasteries, to kids scratching themselves like feral cats. You might be chatting with the village priest while digging at your armpit with a stick and no one thinks twice. Your skin's rubbed raw, your scalp's a war zone, and if you get a rash, tough luck. No ointments, no creams, no diagnosis. It'll just linger for 6 months like an irritating medieval sidekick. And while you're dressed in damp wool and wrapped in a permanent itch, it's time to show that morning smile. Except you don't. Because in the Middle Ages, smiling was a risky business. Not for emotional reasons, for dental ones. There's no toothbrush, no paste, no floss. Oral hygiene is about as popular as taking a bath, which is to say, nope. Some chew on twigs, some rinse with wine or vinegar, but most just let their teeth rot. By your mid-20s, your mouth looks like it belongs in an archaeological exhibit. Cavities everywhere, gums swollen, and that brown color. That's not food. It's decay. Sugars starting to creep in among the rich, imported at absurd cost. So nobles get to ruin their teeth faster than the poor. Peasants take the slow road, grinding them down on gritty bread and porridge until they crumble. Toothaches are a constant background hum like medieval weather, always there. The treatment is either prayer, strong drink, or yanking it out yourself. No dentists, just barber surgeons. The same guy trimming your hair will happily rip out a molar by candlelight with an iron hook and zero anesthesia. If it's infected, congratulations. You now have a fever that might kill you. No antibiotics means a bad tooth can turn into sepsis and end you before harvest. Even breath is lethal. Halitosis is universal. Courtship isn't about your smile anyway. It's about your land and your livestock. Your mouth is a battlefield, and it's losing. Now that your teeth are throbbing and your skin is crawling, time to get to work. And by work, I mean slowly destroying your body for someone else's benefit. If you're like 90% of the population, you're a peasant. You work the land that belongs to a lord who probably doesn't know you exist. Your shift starts when the sun rises and ends when it disappears, 6 days a week. Sunday off unless you're harvesting, repelling raiders, or praying your infected toe doesn't go black. Your tools, a wooden hoe, a rusty sickle, and whatever bones are still in one piece. Fields are plowed by hand unless you're rich enough for an ox. You dig, plant, weed, and haul water until your spine curves into a permanent question mark. There's no too tired, no mental health day, and no complaining, because nobody cares. And if you're a woman, surprise, you do all of that plus raising children, cooking, cleaning, spinning wool, and somehow surviving without snapping in half. Fed animals while pretending your husband's lice weren't staging a nighttime invasion of your pillow. Children? They're part of the workforce by age 5. No school, no toys, just a tiny wooden rake and the dream of surviving flu season. And if you're not a farmer, maybe you're a blacksmith, a tanner, or a cooper. Congratulations, you still spend your days in smoke, stench, or animal guts inside an airless shed. The pay, survival, the perks, occasional bleeding, break a bone, too bad. Fever? Drink warm beer and keep going. A day off means starvation, and starvation means you're easily replaced. So you grip your shovel, ignore the blisters, and dig. Because in the Middle Ages, your job was just a slow-motion endurance test. Now your back's on fire from the fields, so let's talk about the weather. Winter means no insulation, no central heating, just wooden walls with gaps wide enough to toss a chicken through. Windows, cloth, not glass, fires, nice in theory, but you can't afford enough wood, and gathering it from the wrong forest can get you executed. You sleep in a damp wool tunic, huddled near dying embers, and still wake with your nose frozen. Feet are ice blocks, fingers stiff as medieval popsicles, and frostbite is just bad luck. Summer doesn't save you. Your home turns into a clay oven. No fan, no breeze, and certainly no deodorant. You sweat through your layers but can't strip down. Too scandalous, plus you'll get sunburn, bug bites, and gossip. Flies swarm your unwashed body and last week's goat stew. Mosquitoes whine in your ear all night while neighbors argue and babies wail. The fields? No shade, no sunblock, just a straw hat if you're desperate. Heat stroke is taking a bad turn. No matter the season, your clothes itch, your food's awful, and your next chore's waiting. Climate control, medieval style, there is none. And water? Forget it. That picturesque stream? Upstream, someone dumped a chamber pot or a dead pig. Every sip is a parasite party. Beer's safer, so everyone drinks it, kids included. Weak in alcohol, strong in survival. Wine's an option if you're rich and okay with tipsy mornings. Bathing? In theory, yes. In practice, no. People believed. It opened your pores to disease. The cleaner choice? Apparently never wash at all.